So, Alistair, obviously there's a lot of press gathered here, standing in front of you. Just give us a few of your thoughts on what it's like fighting in the Netherlands, I guess, for the first time.
Well, it's
for the UFC.
It's great to be back in Rotterdam. I mean, it's a tremendous city. I've had great history here, fighting in Ahoy, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004. I won my first light heavyweight world title here, so very excited to be back here, and I'm undefeated as well in Holland. So we're going to keep that up this weekend. We're going to come out victorious and remain undefeated.
Alistair, we're speaking with Andre earlier on, and he's basically said that you've put Greg and Mike Winkeljohn in a position regarding who's going to corner each fighter on Sunday night. How would you respond to what he said there?
I think that he has a difficulty with the situation. To me, I view it as a sport. The way I see this, it is silly to think you're not gonna fight against each other, because I mean we're both top 10 guys, and I mean the heavyweight division is not a deep division. So it would be stupid to think, oh, you're never gonna fight each other. You know, when I look at our time in the gym, we never really trained together. So I'm sure that that was something that was going through his mind. For me, I don't have a problem competing against teammates. I view it as a sport. In sport, you will compete against your teammates, and for me, that's not a big deal. Obviously, he has a little bit more difficulty with him. And the coaches, you know, usually the coaches step back. They chose to corner him. I think that's because he doesn't have.
Is that a problem for you, though? The fact that Greg and Mike have been in his corner, no?
Totally not a problem. I'm totally cool with the coaches. We all get along great. We've spoken out to each other that we're going to continue where we left off after this fight. You know, the coaches are cornering him because he doesn't work with other coaches. I work with several other coaches from all over the world. I have Joachim Engert from Sweden cornering me, Azat Sufi from Holland. I always fly him into camps, Joachim as well. I have Chad Smith, wrestling coach, and I have Roberto Tuso. The latter two are from Albuquerque, but these other two coaches I work with. Benji Zimmer, let's not forget Benji. He's from Dubai, also from Holland and Dubai. So I work with several other coaches, and he only works with Greg and Wink. And I think that's why they're like, well, if we don't corner Alaski, there will be no coaches in this corner, so we'll have to do it. And they told me about it, and I'm like, yeah, it's fine, it's sport. I mean, he needs to have corners, right?
Do you find there's a disadvantage, though, possibly the fact, you know, you've worked with Greg and Mike as well, and going into this fight, they're going to have a lot more insight into his game plan, what he's going to do in the fight, to what you're going to do in the fight?
So, yeah. Coach,
do you have to change things up almost?
Coach Wing definitely have seen me train and seen me move in the gym, but that same goes for my coaches that I have in my corner. They've seen Orlovsky. They know what he's going to do. I mean, we studied tape. That's a big part of our preparation. So, you know, it's going to happen how it's going to happen. I think I'm the better fighter, better everywhere, better cardio, better on the ground, better in the clinch, better striking. I have kicks. I have all kinds of weapons, so I'm not worried.
From the very start, though, you seem pretty calm about this. Like, you don't care that he's a teammate, you don't care that you've worked together, but he seems to be the one with the issue. But do you think that's going to put more pressure on him? On Sunday, you're going in there with a calm mind, you don't care what happens. It's like, I don't care that this guy trains with me, he trains with the same way, where maybe it's easy way him a little bit more.
Well, you know, I've had 85 fights. I've always fought maniacs all over the world, all kinds of different divisions, promotions. You know, it's just another fight. He has experience, so I don't know why he was riled up, but you know, that's his problem. That's a YP, not an MP. It's not my problem.
If you win at the weekend, do you think it puts him in a very bad position because the gym has stuck with him, they're going to be cornering him, as you said, because he doesn't have other people to corner. But then when you go back to Albuquerque to train, it's like the guy who's just walked in that just beat their student. What's going to happen then? Is there a dynamic change?
There's two scenarios. I win or I lose. You know, but it doesn't matter. I'm on a mission to be the best version of I can be, and I'm going to work with the coaches, and it's just, you know, it's gonna happen regardless. You know, you just have to be optimistic, positive, and make the best out of it. And it is as hard as how you make it for yourself. That's something that that I have in my mind.
Do you think this is going to be the start of something now that we see more often? Maybe more guys going to Jackson's or bigger gyms, and then guys having to fight each other maybe for title contention further down the line. Are you the two that's going to start the trend? Be like, guys, it's actually okay to fight people that you train with?
Well, I think it has happened before, I think. I mean, I have fought Tyrone Spong, who I trained with for 7 years. We trained here in Holland together. And then I didn't like him, by the way. Then we fought in the K1 finals. I beat him. It was fine. I fought that same night Gogan Saki, who I trained with. We were actually in the same team at that point. We were training together 5 years, or 4 or 5 or 6 years. And him I liked. But, you know, that's just what happens.
Alistair, there's a real rich heritage of kickboxing over here. Do you feel a little bit more under pressure to make sure that you give a good stand-up performance in this fight? Because obviously we've spoken before, and when the fight hits the floor over here, you don't know quite how the crowd are going to react to that. So does that sort of affect your approach going into this fight a little bit?
Well, no. You know, I fight to win. I think I have excellent striking capability. I think Andre is susceptible to it. So, yeah, I'm going to do what I need to do to win the fight. I fight to win fights. And I've always had that mentality. I'm not going to necessarily change my fighting style because there might be a percentage of the audience that wants to see that.
And you said that, you know, one of the things about you is you like to do cool stuff, and that headlining in your home country is a pretty cool thing to do. Where does this rank in terms of your career? Because you've been around the world, you've fought in so many different events, different sports. Where does this rank for you as a personal achievement to actually headline in your home country?
You know, it's hard to. I've had a lot of great moments, but I mean, we got to get through this, and we got to get through this successful. I will get through this successful, because after this one comes the big peak in my career. November 12th, Madison Square Garden. I'll expect to be fighting for the title. But of course, let's not overlook this one Sunday. We're gonna get through this, but focus.
With a win on Sunday, do you feel, you know, a title shot is obviously next up for you? I think it's a little bit different for Andre, but for you, if you're to get the win on Sunday, are you going to be looking at Verdum or Stipe Miocic next?
If I win this fight Sunday, I will win this fight. Then I'll be up for the title next. I'll have the best cards, and I'll be fighting for the title next.
Has the UFC said anything explicit about that? Have they told you if you win, you've got a title shot?
Yeah.
Okay.
And do you feel pressure about that you are so close to the title fight?
Well, of course, there's always pressure. There's always pressure. There's pressure on Andre. You know, he lost his last one. There's pressure on. There's always pressure. But you know, I put a lot of confidence in my training, my shape. I know what I can do, and yeah. You also need a little pressure. You need a little pressure, tension to perform better. And I feel that it's exactly right. It's not too much, it's not too little, because if it's too little, pressure is also not good. I'm exactly good.
Given your success in kickboxing, Alistair, a lot of people would argue that you'd go on to be one of the most successful combat sports athletes of all time if you get the UFC belt. Do you subscribe to that thought? Do you believe them people are right in their thinking?
Well, you know, I go off of what I want to do, and I am missing one belt. And I think the UFC belt, you know, I've competed in all these different organizations. I think the UFC belt, UFC gold is the one that's missing. And, you know, I don't fight for money, I fight for belts.
So would you believe that it could cement you as one of the greatest combat sports athletes of all time if you do that? Or is that hard for you to...
Well, I mean, you do have the belts to back it up. And the knockouts and the submissions and all the other stuff. The highlight reel stuff. So I could possibly agree with that.
Do you feel slightly vilified by the situation that's kind of unfolded here? You know, a lot of people seem to be saying, you know, there's a bit of a rift in the Jackson Wing camp, you know, because you apparently asked the guys to pick between the two fighters. Do you feel like you're coming off bad about this?
No, and to add on that, I never picked anybody to ask to, you know, they made their decision. You know, Jackson Wing is the most relaxed gym I've ever trained. I've been training for a long time, as you know, 22 years. And it's mellow there. Nobody has a problem with nobody. I'm actually very much loved in that team. You know, I get along with everybody. I mean, now with Andre, maybe he's the only one that has no problem with me. But other than that, I get along with everybody. They miss me, I miss them. We're always laughing, we're always joking around. And with the coaches, it's the same matter. Listen, they got to do what they got to do. And I like them that much that I give them the freedom to do that.
Andre spoke about 2 sparring sessions that you guys had in the past. Do you think, can you take anything from them sparring sessions into this fight?
Yeah, I learn a lot, I adapt quick. I kind of know what to expect, although I'm sure that he's working on a surprise. So, yeah, I'm pretty quick in adaptation. I'm sure that's going to work in my advantage.
And given your pedigree in the striking arts, how do you rate Andre's stand-up game? How dangerous is he?
Well, I mean, he's good. He's got his last few fights. He's definitely got some knockouts. I got to be careful for the X. I got to be careful for the X factor, for the surprise. But otherwise, other than that, I think he's not going to be a problem.
You've made very good strikers, MMA strikers, look very mediocre in the past. Do you think that Sunday night's going to be another example of that?
I've made a lot of great strikers look like beginners, and I never like to make those predictions. But as long as after the fight I got my both hands raised, I'm going to be alright.
Both you and Andre, you are both fighting since 1999 in MMA. Which career of both of you is more accomplished, do you think? Andre or yours?
My career is more accomplished.
But you don't have a UFC belt, and he has in the fight.
Yeah, when he got the UFC belt, which year was that? 2004 or something? 2003?
2004.
2004. At that time, Pride was a way more heavy division. So I was competing in Pride at light heavyweight. I mean, it's safe to say that I was the killer division at the time. I've won some, I've lost some. I don't know who he was fighting at that. I think he was competed by Tim Sylvia or something. Yeah, I don't know. But I think my career is more distinguished. I have more fights, I have more, there's just more in it. But he's a dangerous opponent, let's not be mistaken. He's a former champion, that means something. And he has had a great run in the last 4 or 5 fights.
What do you think it is? There's been a resurgence, especially amongst the veterans of the sport. Obviously, the UFC is the best division now since Strikeforce and on Pride and everything's been put together. What do you think the older guys, the veterans, are making a surge now at the moment? It seems like Mark Hunt, we've yourself, an experienced guy, Verdum. What do you think that is? Do you think there's a reason behind that?
I think it's the experience. The older you get, the more experience you get a little bit more calm. You understand how you need to train, how you need to not train. I think when you're young, up and coming, you don't really know as much as we older guys do, because we kind of been there, done that. We're 30, 40, 50, I'm 85 fights in the hole. It's different than you have 6, 7, 8 fights. So I think that's a big factor, experience.